Welcome to Global Trends. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon for more breaking updates, right? Let's talk about something truly terrifying. Imagine you're in America, you flick a switch, and nothing happens. The telly is dead. The kettle won't boil. Your smart fridge is now just a dumb, cold cupboard. Why? Because Canada, your friendly neighbor to the north, has decided to turn off the taps. It sounds like a disaster movie, but it's not pure fiction. The U.S. and Canada share the world's longest undefended border, and a deeply intertwined energy system. It's a complex web of pipelines, power lines, and political promises. The thought of one side yanking the plug is enough to give anyone a panic attack. This isn't just about keeping the lights on in Vermont or fueling cars in Minnesota. It's a pillar of North American stability. For decades, treaties have kept the energy flowing, built on mutual need. The U.S. is a colossal energy consumer, and Canada is its #1 supplier. But even the most patient neighbors have limits. When trade disputes heat up, the biggest lever Canada holds is that giant energy switch. The real question isn't just they do it, but what would happen if they ever felt they too? It's a geopolitical horror story, and we're all in the front row. To understand this, let's rewind. The U.S.-Canada energy relationship was built over a century, piece by piece, pipeline by pipeline. What started as simple electricity sales grew into a massive, codependent partnership. Over 100 pipelines and dozens of transmission lines now stitch the two countries together. Canadian oil flows south to Texas, American natural gas heads north to Ontario, hydroelectric power from Quebec keeps New York lit. In 2024, Canada sent over 4 million barrels of oil per day to the U.S., more than 60% of America's oil imports. The U.S. profits by refining and reselling that oil, creating a lucrative cycle. Treaties like the 1977 Transit Pipeline Treaty protect this flow, making it nearly untouchable. But this deep connection is also a vulnerability. The U.S. depends on Canada for supply. Canada depends on the U.S. as its main customer. Canada often feels it's selling resources at a discount with few other buyers. Meanwhile, the U.S. takes the steady flow for granted. It's a relationship that works until it suddenly doesn't. The power imbalance and mutual dependence have led to friction, and that's where things get risky. The stakes? Monumental. The U.S.-Canada energy trade underpins hundreds of billions of dollars and millions of jobs. For Canada, oil and gas are economic titans, projected to contribute $176 billion to GDP in 2025. For the U.S., a sudden halt would be an economic heart attack. Petrol prices would skyrocket, supply chains would freeze, and costs for everything would soar. The U.S. would scramble for alternatives, paying a premium on the global market. But a Canadian shutdown would hurt both sides. Eastern Canada actually relies on U.S. pipelines for oil and fuel. Cutting off the U.S. would also cut off parts of Canada. It's mutually assured destruction. Any hostile move would devastate both economies. Politicians may posture, but they know a full-scale energy war would be catastrophic. The system is a delicate balancing act. The stakes are simply too high for anyone to be reckless. Or at least, you'd hope so. If an energy divorce is so unthinkable, why talk about it? Because the partnership is showing cracks. Political friction, regulatory headaches, and disagreements over energy's future have strained the relationship. Pipelines are a major sore spot. Canada wants new ones to reach global markets, but projects keep getting blocked. From Canada's view, it's like their biggest customer won't let them see other people. Investment in Canada's energy sector has plummeted, spooked by environmental policies and political uncertainty. Companies are funneling money to shareholders instead of growth, a sign of risk. Industry leaders are begging for relief, warning of an exodus. When a key industry feels cornered, desperate measures follow. The threat to halt oil exports floated during recent trade disputes is a cry for attention. It's a bluff for now, but nerves are frayed. The once unbreakable energy cord is being stretched thin. How much tension can it take before it snaps? Let's play out the disaster scenario. If Canada flicked the switch, chaos would erupt at U.S. petrol stations, prices would soar, supply chains would freeze, supermarket shelves would empty, and the economy would grind to a halt. In regions like New England, the lights would go out, no heat in winter, factories shut, and the stock market would nosedive. The shock would trigger a deep recession. North of the border, Canada would face its own crisis. With nowhere to send millions of barrels of oil, storage would run out, forcing production shutdowns and massive job losses. The Canadian dollar would collapse, plunging the country into depression. Eastern Canada, reliant on U.S. pipelines, would also be left in the dark. Cutting off the U.S. would mean cutting off itself, a spectacular own goal. The political fallout would be severe, and the relationship with the U.S. would be damaged for generations. The domino effect would be swift and brutal. It's a game where the only winning move is not to play. Both countries would lose, badly. The devastation would be total. No one walks away unscathed. A U.S. Canada spat wouldn't happen in a vacuum. The world would watch in horror. An energy shutdown would send shockwaves through global markets. The U.S., desperate for oil, would drive up prices everywhere. Europe and Asia would be outbid, facing shortages and soaring costs. This exposes a harsh truth. Global energy systems are fragile and deeply interconnected. A crisis in one region quickly becomes everyone's problem. The idea of energy independence is mostly a myth. And then there's climate change. Mother Nature is rewriting the rules. In Ecuador, a drought crippled hydropower, causing nationwide blackouts. Even renewables aren't immune to climate volatility. Droughts, wildfires, hurricanes, any can disrupt energy flows. The political squabbles of today seem quaint compared to the chaos nature can unleash. The next energy crisis might not be man-made at all. So will Canada really put America in energy timeout? Almost certainly not. The nuclear option is too catastrophic for both sides. Economic self-harm for Canada would be immediate, political fallout insurmountable. The tangled web of pipelines means hurting your neighbor means hurting yourself. The 1977 treaty still stands as a symbol of shared destiny. The system was built for cooperation, not divorce. But recent tensions are a wake-up call. This relationship is fragile. Canada is diversifying exports, signaling it doesn't want all its eggs in the U.S. basket. The dynamic is shifting, slowly but surely. The Canada shuts off the lights scenario is a useful, if terrifying, thought experiment. It reminds us this relationship needs constant care and a shared vision for the future. Both nations face huge challenges: clean energy, climate change, and more. The only way forward is together, because sitting alone in the dark is a future neither side can afford.